Adverse child experience.
Okay.
So it's ACEs is to identify, like, it's like a 10 questions, and it identifies, like, if you've had parents that were using, did they go to prison? Were you molested? Did you have, so it really identifies when you're working even as adults, like how you were able to navigate life and relationships and your reactions to things. It starts as a child. Actually, it starts when you're in the belly. You know, your character is starting to develop.
Okay, so tell me about this, and going back to these kids, they all have their issues, and really, we have to look at the environment they grew up in, and even to adults too. Same thing. I mean, I've got some. You know, I had like an issue with my family, and I look at, you know, my in-laws, and I'm like, okay, I have to look at where they grew up. What was the environment that they were in? Because today, the reason they are who they are today is because of the environment they grew up in.
Right.
And so you know, whatever environment somebody grows up in, that's why they are the way that they are. And I believe every single person, we're all doing the very best that we can with the tools that we've been given. Period. Like nobody shows up wanting to piss everybody off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not what people do.
There may be some people are.
Yeah, but then you look at their environment. Why?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's what we do. You know, you do ACEs test. You know, you start to, when you look at the ACEs, like you're able to identify what happened.
What's an ACEs test?
The early herd, that wasn't even a word. Adverse child experience.
Okay.
So it's ACEs is to identify, like, it's like a 10 questions, and it identifies, like, if you've had parents that were using, did they go to prison? Were you molested? Did you have, so it really identifies when you're working even as adults, like how you were able to navigate life and relationships and your reactions to things. It starts as a child. Actually, it starts when you're in the belly. You know, your character is starting to develop, like who you're going to be while you're not even born yet. So as you know, we do look at everything that has, you know, what their environment was. How did their parents, you know, treat them with love or whatever? But that really, that defines who they're going to be as adults. You know,
right.
So it's so important. Like when we look at kids, to understand when helping them is where they came from. Like you said, their environment. You know, but it's tough.
So what's the purpose of the Recovery High School?
So I was waiting for you to ask that question. So there's 42 right now recovery high schools in the nation.
Okay.
And they are none in Arizona, none in California. God knows, I don't know why, because they literally statistically, it enhances graduation rates and abstinence. Their kids thrive, you know, once they go through the program. And it's not, they don't always stay at the recovery high school through like their entire 4 years. Sometimes they do, sometimes they come in. It's an open enrollment. So kids are coming in and out throughout the entire school year after treatment, or just finding out about it. And they want, you know, they're struggling at home and they want to, or struggling at school and they want to, you know, come to a recovery high school. But there are, just in Phoenix, there's 43,000 kids that are using. Those are the statistics. Just Phoenix, 43,000. We have the highest dropout rate, one of the highest dropout rates in the United States. 33% of our kids drop out.
Wow.
And what happens, this is not just, you know, my goal with this school is to, one, enhance abstinence and graduation rates. But
to get a free copy of the 12-step guide that I created for you, click on the link in the description below.
But when we don't intervene, this is a societal impact. You know, this is not just a family and that individual. This is an impact on society. If a kid does not graduate, drops out, the district, one, loses money for that seat. Two, they're more than likely to go to get incarcerated. There's 1.2 million juveniles right now that are incarcerated for some kind of drugs. You know, then they start committing crimes. Then because they did not get a diploma, they're not going to get a good, you know, a higher paying job, you know, things like that. Then they get on government assistance. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And the biggest problem is, Tim, why I'm opening this school is because there is no continuum of care for kids, right? With adults, we can transition back into life after we leave treatment. We go to sober livings. We have that transition. Guess what we do with kids? We're doing a disservice. We set them up for failure. We're sending them right back to the environment they got sick in, their high school. Within 30 days.
Back to their home and back to their high school.
Right, absolutely. So within 30 days, relapse. Within 6 months, they're back in treatment. These are statistics.
How many people, like percentage-wise, how many people are relapsed within 30 days?
90%.
Woo! Okay.
90%.
Okay.
Yeah. I've done such in-depth research about this because, you know, as I started digging in, I knew that this was a huge problem, you know, and these kids, I mean, every time I talk to a parent, they'll say they did treatment 2-3 times. The second, what happened when they started getting sick again? Went back to their school with their friends, you know, that peer pressure, wanting to fit in, things like that. So the school we know that even for adults, we recover with our peers, right? That's one of the biggest things where people understand what you're going through. I isolated when I was in my addiction because nobody knew what I was going through, understood me. It wasn't until I came to treatment that I was like, wow, these are, you know, they get me. They understand what I'm going through. Right. So this is not only the peer support that they're going to have there to support each other, but we're creating a loving environment with a small 10-to-1 teacher to student ratio,
Okay.
you know, to make sure that these kids' needs are met individually. So we don't see, so max 70 students per, like, at a time, but we'll see
in the high school.
Yes, but we'll see 200, probably 200 or more revolving throughout the year, because we're going to say not every kid is going to stay. Some will stay 3 to 4 months, but the goal is to get them so the school runs like a normal high school. We just have recovery coaches and morning check-in, and at lunchtime we have, you know, certain things that we would run through, you know, with whether it's prevention or whatever, you know, curriculum or stuff like that. It's what they're going to do outside. They will not have homework. What they do outside is where the real work is done.
If you got value from this video, if you heard what you needed to hear, be sure to like it. Comment if you've got a question or you have something to say. Subscribe to the channel. Camelback Recovery provides treatment services for people struggling with mental health, mental illness, addiction, alcoholism, whatever it may be. So if you or a loved one is struggling and you need some guidance and you need some direction, reach out to us. Our contact information is down below, or you can go to our website, camelbackrecovery.com, whether it be detox, inpatient treatment, outpatient treatment, sober living, recovery coaching, sober companion services, whatever it may be. Like I said, we can either help you or make sure that you get sent in the right direction. We help people all over the country, all over the world for that matter. I'll see you on the next video.